Are you ready to continue growing in 2024? Join me, Jessica Holly, at the Learning Yourself workshop from Tuesday through Thursday, March 26th through the 28th, from 7 to 8:30 p.m. each night, where we will use the power of the Flight Assessment 2.0 to identify your limitations as well as learn how to use your superpowers. We'll show you those strengths that will help you to get to building your vision. See you there. Your circle will change as you accomplish your goals and level up. Everybody can't go. Good evening, you guys, and happy Wednesday. We're back with another Everybody Can't Go Convo. And this week, we are interviewing with Tara Cartina, west of Tara Cartina Coaching and Consulting. You guys know that I bring you the folks who have poured into me, who have helped to build me over the years. And Tara Cartina was one of my coaches I can't even say quite a few years ago. There's just been so much happening so fast once that strong foundation was built that it seems like it was so long ago, but really it was just a few months ago that she released me into the wild to go to my next level and continue building. So welcome, Tara Cartina. How are you?
Oh, I am so excited to be here. I really, really, really thank you for this opportunity. And I am so excited for you and your next level. So I am just honored to be here. And thank you for sharing me with your audience.
Of course, we so appreciate you. So, there's a ton of stuff going on for you right now. So, let us know, let everybody know, like, what's going on, what's been going on recently. What do you have coming up over the next couple months?
Well, right now I am on a book signing tour, and so I'm just raising awareness about my book. And then I am, showing parents about how they can navigate the stress that's going on in their home. And so I'm also, I've been speaking to different churches to let them know, guess what? Our church Sunday school kids are dealing with a whole bunch of stress too. So how are we going to navigate that? Being in the religious sector. So I've been doing that tour. I've been doing that speaking, and then I am still coaching. I still have individual students that I coach on a regular basis to help them navigate transitions that they're going through. Teach them mindset skills that we learn, okay, at a younger age, and to help them manage their behaviors, okay. And so these are the things that I've been busy doing.
Okay, sounds amazing. And we will make sure that you guys get that link in the show notes so that you can copy the book. Y'all know I always got it up there for you guys in the background. Um, and so I wanted to started to dive into the type of coaching and consulting that you do, specifically surrounding families and coaching teams.
Mhm.
A lot of times, folks will say like, "Oh, they just kids. You ain't got no worries, or you ain't got to pay no bills. What you worry about?" I definitely, growing up as a kid, I definitely remember hearing some of those things. That it's like, well, what you got to worry about? So, let's like dive into that a little bit. Like, what are some of the things that our youth are bringing to you, and things that your coaching is used for with the children?
Well, I'm using definitely emotional intelligence, teaching them emotional intelligence, because what I found is that kids just do not know how to express themselves. So that's how you get the behavior problems. That's how you get the stress, anxiety. But a lot of the kids that I coach are high performers. And so because they're high performers, they put a lot of stress on themselves. We put a lot of stress on them. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
so I'm helping them navigate through their emotions when they have deadlines, when they have to do different things. I just help coach them with being able to manage their emotions and still make the deadlines, achieve the goals that they're trying to achieve, but I don't want them cracked up once they get there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want
Mhm.
them falling apart to get to their next level, you know? So just like we have coaches and things like that we got coaches, we got Oprah, we got Eric Thomas, we got other people to go to. Our kids need people too. They need a safe space that they can go talk out their emotions without repercussions. Okay. uh, yes. And be able to navigate that. And I find that other things that they have is problems with is being heard in school, because school is a whole day of sit down and be quiet. And so, but what if they have challenges? What if bullying is going on? What if, they have friendship issues that's going on? Where are they going if they got to sit down and be quiet all day? Okay. So
Mhm.
that's what I provide for them, to be able to help them navigate friendships, transitions, and things like that. So it's a lot. They bring a lot to me. They have a lot going on in their heads, just like we do. I really wish, we as adults saw them, and thinking out things like we do. You know what I mean? And so, because they deal with the same thing, but they don't have the avenue to take care of themselves for themselves. You know what I mean? So they need an advocate.
That makes so much sense. Now you guys see, y'all got just the tip of the iceberg on why I brought her in here. Okay, you guys, y'all know I was born an auntie, literally. So I stand behind you 100%, and I could not agree more. I'm such an auntie. I couldn't even get out of auntie mode when I was a teacher. I thought I was so professional, and a handful of my students they're like, Miss Holly, are you an auntie? And I'm like, what made you ask that? They like, you, even when you teaching, it just like class is fun and you just sound like an auntie. And I was like, okay, mental note, cannot turn auntie off even in professional setting. So, even coming from that side note, one of the things that you just mentioned, you talked about some of the social issues that children may have at school, not just dealing with bullying, but dealing with friendship issues and different things in social circles. And I wanted to dive into that a bit more, especially with, the brand being everybody can't go, thinking about how difficult it can be for adults ourselves to navigate the social dynamics and the friends, the company that we keep and everything. What does that look like for our youth, for our teens?
Is definitely a challenge. Because you got to think about the kids growing up with their, let's just use an example. They grew up with their best buddy, next door neighbor. They grew up with them, but at some point they may decide to take different paths. You know what I mean? Like, what if that child had one child who got into athletics, and they were really striving to be the best in the athletic realm, and they didn't necessarily have the skill, but they wanted to train to gain the skill to be able to be the fastest runner, to do the hurdles. And so it took a lot of time. Well, their friend got jealous of their time that they were taking away from the friendship. You know what I mean? And so just like it's hard for us to break away, it was hard for the child to break away from the friendship, because they wanted to dedicate that time to athletics at that time. And so we had to talk about it. We had to talk about the wording and the conversations you needed to have with that friend. And I'm going to tell you, the friend didn't understand. The friend just wanted their time. You know what I mean? Just wanted you to pick up the phone. Well, guess what? If I have to practice after school till 6 o'clock, and then I am a high achiever who makes all A's, I have to study from 6 to 9. You know what I mean? I don't have time to be on the game or be, on the phone with you. I don't have time. And so it was just something that the student had to do, and they lost a friend for it. You know what I mean? And so I said, well, sometimes friends are in your life for seasons, and so and it happens to adults too. And that was the thing. I had to tell her all my examples that happened to me, and that was the thing that helped her. And I said, I promise you, you'll get other friends. Guess what? You're gonna make friends on the team. You know what I mean? But sometimes the kids don't, know how to navigate that. You know what I mean? It's just hard. It's just hard for them to have those hard conversations because they don't like conflict like that. And so, but it happens to them. Everybody can't go where they're going, especially like I tell my high achievers. Everybody won't understand your commitment and your dedication to the goal that you're trying to achieve. And I know we understand that because it happens to us as adults. So
Yes, that is 100% facts. And I'm really glad that you are taking it all the way back to taking it back to childhood or our adolescence, because a lot of times we don't rewind back when we're thinking about breaking away, or we see that, oh, I am still growing apart from people that I spent so much time with. I would say, at least for myself personally, I didn't start to pay it attention until undergrad.
mm,
And when I really think about it, as I started to dive into your book and started to read through, I'm like, wait a minute, this thing, everybody can't go, started far before that. But I
mhm.
didn't have the tools or the knowledge or the language to, or the emotional intelligence to be able to process some of those thoughts and things. And that for me, I was like, wait, this is a whole nother level of what can influence or help me when it's my turn to become a parent. I'm like, ooh, here's a whole nother avenue that we can get parents prepared for some of the things that your children may experience or may be going through, and equip you with another tool to be able to be an advocate in a strongest way possible as you can become for your children, your nieces and nephews, or the little cousins in them, or any youth that you are mentoring or pouring into or coaching. So I love that. I love that. So, moving into how to be a strong advocate for children, I hear a lot of times parents are like, "Oh, can you just talk to them?" Because you say the same thing that I said, but when you say it, it's like, "Oh my gosh, it's so great because Auntie Jessie said it." So, talk to us about the advice that you would give to parents versus educators or mentors with making that connection and becoming that strong advocate for our youth.
The first thing I would say is listen. I would say listen without responding and just listen, because I find even with my clients, like we can go a whole session and I have listened, 45 minutes, and then the last 15 I get to teach, you know what I mean, whatever I came prepared to do. But they really just want me to hear them out without judgment. And so I think we're always trying to sometimes mold kids to be clones, you know what I mean, into what we want them to be, instead of really just listening to, where they are. You know what I mean? The other thing I would say, the next thing I would say, stop being a superhero with them. We come to the rescue and we want to solve every problem, but that means they don't get to develop any critical skills to solve their own problems, right? And so take the cape off. Take the cape off and let them come up with things to solve their own issues. You know what I mean? Because they are capable, right? And then we are there to give them guide. What if they're off a little bit? We can slide in a little lesson, you know what I mean? But take the cape off and let them critical think through some of the things that they have. And then lastly, I would say share what you have gone through. A lot of times we like to shield and hide our troubles. You know what I mean? But the kids need to know, how will they know how to navigate their own troubles if we don't share with them the troubles that we have experienced, so that we can teach them, okay, listen, I had this trouble. This is what I did. It didn't work out. Then I tried this. Then it worked out. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because we'll be teaching them. But I think sometimes, especially as parents, we want to be seen in such the best light, and we don't want to show that we can make mistakes and things like that. That we are just doing them a disservice. We're doing them a disservice because then they can't handle anything. If you notice, this generation, sometimes the littlest thing that they bring to me, about problems that they have, they be so minor compared to the problems that I had when I was in school, you know what I mean? But they can't handle it because they hadn't been taught or they hadn't seen it be lived out. And so we need to share with them our issues and how we solve them. You know what I mean? And we can do it age appropriately. We can, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But they need to know. They need to know we're not perfect and life is not perfect because it's not. Life be lifing, and they, you know what I'm saying? And they don't understand how to navigate it because they haven't experienced it. So I say listen, definitely let them critical think and then share your experiences so they can know how to navigate their own experiences.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So, being transparent while teaching and being a good listener, out like those are two really really good things. And I can attest to that, and I second that. I definitely found over my time of being a professional auntie that sometimes I would just sit at my desk and it's like, Miss Holly, can I come in? And I'm like, what's up? What's going on? I could tell on your face. Have a seat, come sit by my desk. And I'm also a professional multitasker. And while I'm doing my stuff on my computer, like sometimes that's literally all they just needed to vent. Sometimes we think that the babies don't need to vent, but the same way that we have that one homegirl, or we got our homeboy, or that mentor or someone that we go to, that it's like, look, I have all of these things happening, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I need to vent, or I need to vent, and can you help me with some solutions, because I've been thinking and thinking and thinking about this thing so much on my own.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. But the first things first, can I just get it out? Like, I got to get it out. And once that brain dump happens, then now my mind is prepped for, now let's talk about solutions for how can I get through this.
Right.
And so I love that you brought up listening first, because sometimes when we're so ready to pour, if there's no space for that pouring to be received, it's kind of like the same thing as once a cup already full. We always talk about filling our own cup, but sometimes depending on what's going on in your mind, you do need to empty all that stuff out, and you need to vent to get that out so that you're able to have space for when the good things are being poured in, to replace all of that like, oh, I don't know what to do, that the space is there. So I love that you started with talking about listening first.
Yeah.
Because on both sides of it, I can also remember a time where I felt like I just needed to be heard, but at the time I was so young, I didn't know what venting was, so I
Mhm.
wasn't able to express that, or just to sit down and say, hey, adult in my life, things are just getting hard in my little high school life, in my little middle school life. Can I tell you about what's going on? But don't talk about me when I tell you. Don't make me feel judged when I tell you. I just want to get it off my chest. So those babies, they need to get stuff off their chest too. And we can do better as the adults in their lives to become those safe spaces. And I would ask you, as the expert, as those changes in the adult starts to come about, do you notice that it's easier for the youth to shift into noticing when that adult is becoming a safe space? And does that help to improve the relationship dynamics between adults and their children?
Definitely. Because I'm gonna tell you the lines that I get from the kids some of the kids that I serve is they're not going to listen. They're going to fuss at me as soon as I say, such and such. You know what I mean? They don't feel like they have a place. You know what I mean? One child told me, they just treat us like puppets. They just tell us what to do and move us around. I know, right? Right. And he felt that way. But in his life, that's what was going on. He didn't have an avenue to be able to talk. And I'm gonna tell you, I have, because my goal is always to lead, teach people the skill, lead them in how to use it, and then release them. You know what I mean? I don't want to hold on to clients. You know what I mean? I want them to be healthy and go. You know what I mean? And so I have clients that now they could not have conversations with the adults in their lives, and now it's a easy flow, and that's why I want the family to get to. It's an easy flow, and they're navigating. Every now and then I'll hear from the parent to say, oh, this went on, but they came to talk to me about it. They came to share with me, and I was able to advocate for them. You know what I mean? Advocate for them, especially like I told you in school. Like every child that's acting out is not just acting out for naught. You know what I mean? Like there is something going on. Okay. And it's not just the kid just having bad behavior. Something is going on. And so when that happens and the child is able to see that that adult is fighting for them, that's when it's released. When the child is able to see the adult is not just barking directions, you better do right, you better, get your behavior together, and they're actually asking questions. Okay, tell me what happened. Okay, tell me from the beginning to the end. Tell me what happened. Tell me what you did. Tell me what the teacher did. Tell me what the other person did. You know what I mean? Tell me the whole story. That's when they'll open up. They're listening. Oh, they want to know my point of view. You know what I mean? They'll open up then. But until we get to that point and we're not just barking, because I know we're parents, you know what I mean? Sometimes we're just like, I don't want to deal with this because I'm stressed out. Right. And that's why in my book, I talk a lot about self-care. I got a whole area about self-care for parents because you need to have self-care too in order to be able to be calm enough to handle some of the things that the kid is going through. So, but soon as the child is able to see that you're advocating for them, they'll know. You know what I mean? It's a shift. It's a shift. And they're able to talk to you and communicate. And they'll want to. Because you are, parents and aunties. Okay? You're the first responder to all the kids. Stop thinking it's the teachers, it's the Sunday school teacher. No, no, no. It's you. You know what I mean? You're the person that they want to go to first. They just go to other people because they feel like they can't. You know what I'm saying? So you're the first responder. And so we have to learn how to be the first responder, the first one on the scene that the child want to talk to. You know what I mean? That's how I felt with my kids. I wanted to be the person that they wanted to come to first before they went to their friend who don't have any wisdom. You know what I mean? Or any other adult. I wanted to be the person. So that's the shift that they'll notice when you advocate for them.
That is so real. I love that, seeing yourself as a parent being the first responder.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And building that relationship and that safe space to make sure that you can be the first responder, and a good one, because I done seen a couple of them little videos where the first responders, they put somebody on the stretcher, was dropping them and everything else. We don't want to be that kind of first responder, okay? We want to be the creme de la creme, like all like top 1%, bump top 10, bump top 5. We want to be top 1% in our kids' book and in these babies' lives when we're coming to them as their first line of defense. So, moving into like your personal path and some of the things that you've experienced, in the book there was a section where you talked about everybody that you know isn't necessarily a part of the family support system. Can you talk a bit more about that? Like, how have you seen that show up in your personal life, and how have you seen that show up for your clients as well?
Right. In the book, I'm talking about how parents need to build a support system. But we all know that sometimes, the company that we keep is not necessarily providing positive support. Right. And so I talk about the time that I had somebody in my life that I didn't realize at the time was a negative oppressor. kind of thing, because all I would get from them is the negativity of their lives, from the time I got off of work, you know what I mean, to the time I rode, that ride home. And I didn't realize it at the time until I had an issue that happened in my life, right? I had an emergency that happened with my mom, and it required me to pull away from everybody to take care of my mom. You know what I mean? And so where I thought I would get support from that person, I didn't. I still got the pull because they still wanted to dump, you know what I mean, their stuff on me. And it wasn't a support. And so I don't know about you guys, but those of us who still have our moms in our lives, man, they are at the top of the list. You know what I'm saying? With, wanting to care for them. And I just wanted to be there for her. And I felt like, oh, you can't come along with me to help me support, her in her challenge right now. You still want to pull on me. And so I just got to the point where I was just like, no, okay. I tell people now that, I had to transition out of Terra and go to Terra 3.0, okay? And where I would say no, where I would set boundaries on my time, you know what I mean? And so that wasn't a support system for me in the family. And so you'll know who those people are in your life too. That's not a support. Who is the person that's trying to be there for you, right? Just like you're being for them. Who is the people who are trying to push you up? Come on, we're in business and things like that. And I remember getting into business and wanted to go further in ministry. There were people who still wanted to, I'm going to say, talk negative about how I felt about business. Like, yo, you trying to do too much. You dreaming too big. Okay. There are people in your life that come and they want to, when you're trying to go further, they want to remind you of who you was. Oh, you was this, you was this, pulling you back, right? They're not support system. And so you have to have some discernment to recognize these people are not trying to push you toward where you want to go. They want to pull you and keep you back with them because they are not going anywhere. And so they're not support system. Every kind of encounter that you have with somebody, I think, you know what I mean, that it's a deposit or withdrawal. Are they depositing? Or are they withdrawing all the time? And I'm not saying there is a time. I got a cousin sister that I call her. We'll call each other and sometimes we'll be like, okay, I evangelist, I need your head on. That means I need you to listen and not, you know what I'm saying, not dumb.
Mhm.
Okay. We'll say that sometimes to each other to let each other know this is the role I need you to play today. You know what I'm saying? And so that's a give and take. That's a mutual, understanding. But some people are not like that. They see what you have, especially if you're a giving person, and if you are, I'm a recovering people pleaser. But if you're the person, I still like to serve people though, right? But I serve within my boundaries. But if you're that type of person who like to serve people, people will let you serve them until you have nothing left. Nothing. And so when you're in families, I don't care if you're in business, you have to recognize who are the people that are lifting you and depositing, and then who are the people are oppressing you and taking away. And so I talk about that in the book as my example, and that families have to realize that too. Who is that person trying to carpool with you? You know what I mean? To get your kids to and from where they are. Or are you the person that's always carpooling everybody's kids?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? That happens. Are you the babysitter people call at the last minute all the time, but when you need one, there's no one, right? And
Mhm.
so, and that's also the reason why I introduce life coaching for kids, because you need another adult that you trust, that's on the same wavelength as you, to pour into your kids, because sometimes they won't come to you just because. You know what I'm saying? And so, but you want somebody on the same mindset with you to be able to lift them up too. And so, that's what I talk about when I talk about your support system, to be aware, you know what I mean, of people who are withdrawing instead of depositing.
That's really good. So when you're looking at this pretty much everybody can go when you're talking about pouring
Right.
into self and raising your children and your family. What are some of the things to You touched on it briefly at the end, just there. What are some other ways that you can pretty much vet people who are good for this support system in terms of building family? And some of the tasks and things that you talked about were related to, like, carpooling, doing different things that maybe some of the other PTA parents can help you with, and things like that. What are some of the things that you encourage parents to do as they are transitioning their households and moving through that process of, once they take that inventory and it's like, ooh, I'm looking at my list, maybe I don't have a support system, or I see that 4 or 5 other people on my list that I considered my support system, they can't go because they're not supporting me or helping to build my family. What advice would you give to a parent in that position, that they either need to start from scratch or they need to do a total overhaul of that support system for their entire family structure?
I definitely would first have a conversation with the people that they're talking about. You know what I mean? Have a conversation with them. We need to be more assertive with saying, hey, this is what I need. Because sometimes it be you hadn't expressed that you need it. You just have gone on and try to be, a silent, solo superhero is what I call it, and do it by yourself. I don't need anybody. I'm not gonna tell anybody that I'm hurting. But have a conversation and see if they react or respond differently. You know what I mean? A person who love you, they're going to want to act, you know what I mean? They want to come and meet your need too, right? If you're telling them, hey, I need this, I have this need, and I'm looking for people to help me with this need. And if they take on the, oh yeah, I didn't know you needed the help. Just tell me what you need me to do. Hey, that's the person you can keep, right? If you have the conversation. But if you have the conversation and they immediately getting defensive, right? And they immediately backing off of you, let them go. Let them go. But I do think you should seek other people outside. Sometimes we're so protective all the time. We're so fearful of new people. I definitely would go to what you said, like the PTA, places. I'm a part of a group that's called Mom Biz Boss, and we are moms who are in business. You know what I mean? And we provide support and resources to each other. It started off as a Facebook group, but those are like some of my close friends that show up at my book signing, you know what I mean, that give me resources to help me with my family. And so join some type of group that provides that support. You can go outside of your family, you know what I mean? And so, but I would definitely first have that conversation, and then I would join a support group and let your guard down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You could test people out. You know what I mean? Hang out with people. I don't know if you noticed that. I feel like even as neighbors, we don't touch bases with our neighbors as much, right? We just go outside, and we can be, coming home every day and not know who is that next door to us, and things like that. But I think we need to get to know each other, right? We're online all the time, but we're not having conversations. You know what I mean? So we have to be intentional. I intentionally talk to my neighbor, you know what I mean, and find out, oh, what's going on, you know what I mean? Because I'm telling you, when I'm not here, she's the one who will pick up my packages, take out my trash, things like that. We need to be intentional about making relationships, you know what I mean, forming relationships. And so that's what I would advise them to do. And I know it's hard out here, but you will be the better for it, and your children will be the better for it, for you not to be a solo ranger out here trying to raise kids alone. I believe it takes a village. I do. Build a village. Build a village. If you don't have one, build one. You know what I mean? But you'll have to be intentional.
Okay, that's good. That's really good. So when you're talking about like building that village, having people around you, and how building yourself as the parent, that has that trickle down effect to your children and the family. One of the other takeaways, like the big takeaways that I had from your book, was when you talked about the concept of pretty much our children can become a carbon copy of us by the example that we set. we always hear that don't they do what I say, not what I do. But speaking to how strong that what we do and how that pours into our children. And so when you mention all of these different things that parents can do to improve themselves, let's talk about some of the effects that trickle down effect. It can either be positive things or it can be negative things. So when you're talking about high achieving students, you got a Lone Ranger mom, like what does that start to look like for our youth when we have some good things, but some of those wrong things being kind of mixed in there?
I definitely say, the kids are watching everything that we do. I wrote the book because just going back to why I wrote the book, I realized that I was passing down generational anxiety with my kids because
Mm,
I had it. I was a child. We moved a lot when I was young, which means I was the new kid on the block everywhere that I went. And at
mhm,
that time, I was really shy. I was really shy. But I couldn't tell my mom that, I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time making friends. I'm having a hard time being bullied because I'm the new girl. You know what I mean? And so as I became a parent, I realized that anxiety, I was passing it down to my kids. And so what I immediately wanted to do is stop it. You know what I mean? I didn't want them to have it. So I had to fix me first. So I had to find out, what was in me that was causing the anxiety. You know what I'm saying? And so as a parent, you have to think about everything that you're doing. They're watching and they're taking notes, good and bad. Come on. You see it. People who come from alcoholic families sometimes become an alcoholic. Some of them don't, but you know what I'm saying? It trickles down what we are doing. And so in the book, I talk about that if we are the people out there being high achievers and trying to manage our emotions and things like that, and we're talking to the kids like, ooh, I had to see my counselor today because I had to talk about the stress that I had. They're thinking to themselves, oh, I need to talk to somebody too. But 9 times out of 10, that's somebody to be you. You know what I
mhm,
mean? And so we teach them how to live out this life. They're watching us. And I don't care what you do. You could try not to make a carbon copy and they can become just like you. Like I said, you're good and you're bad. You know what I mean? If we don't start having conversations and recognizing it in ourselves, acknowledging it, right? With ourselves and with them, so that we can correct. You know what I'm saying? So they won't get the bad stuff too. You know what I mean? And so they're watching what we do and they're emulating everything that we do. That's what they're doing. They're just living it out. You know what I mean? Bad behavior. Come on, road rage on the road. What do kids know about road rage when they 16 and getting their license? They have watched us yell at cars and things like that. So when they get in the car, they're yelling too. They're doing exactly. Think about all the toddlers that repeat the bad words that we say right off the bat, right? They don't even think about it. They're doing what we're doing. And so that's why I say really have to pay attention to making sure we have a good emotional health so that we can pass that down. And that's the goal. That's the goal. We are passing down generational health. Okay? I don't care how it is, physical, emotional, mental. Let's pass that down instead of the other stuff. You know what I mean? So
that's good. That's good. And shoot, you stay having me taking notes on like, okay, make sure that I do this, don't do this. Ooh, I didn't even think about it that they could watch me and pass that thing down. So I really love that.
mhm.
And another way that I used some of what you talked about in the book and that teaching, how you talked about fixing myself first, it also caused me to think about going back, like how you said, where will did I take on some of those like anxious feelings or take on some of that stress and different things from my own mom and from my household? And I'm like, oh, okay. There are some of the places where I can think back to so that I can address the root cause of why I may be feeling anxious. It's not just my own thing, so that I can make sure that I get that corrected within me for that next generation. And so you guys, that tool right there, you can use that going forwards down to the family coming from you, and you can also use that as you're thinking backward with the family that you came from, so that you can be that agent for change. So for all of my parents out there, make sure that you check this link that I drop into the show notes for you guys if you want to book with Tara Cartina, or if you want to check out her book itself. If you're interested in that coaching and consulting, I know that a handful of you guys out there will definitely find this to be some tools and techniques that you need, and possibly some coaching and or consulting that you can actually like tangibly use. Get on a call, find out some things about yourself, mark down some questions that you may need to ask, and know that you're able to talk to a trusted source, someone who is like, she another one of my warm hugs, okay, y'all. Another one of my warm hugs, that you are talking to a person that has come from a source of experience, putting that education and different things behind that to become the expert that you see on screen here in front of us today. So, Tara, thank you so much for coming on with us today. I so appreciate you. Do you have any last thoughts, or any last like imparting words of wisdom that you would promote for our parents or for our children?
I know parenting is hard. It is the hardest job you ever love. But that's just it. It's something that we should love. And I see a lot of parents just, just be stressed out about it. And I just want to tell them, just go at it from a place of love. You know what I mean? Because we love our kids, correcting them, right? And we love when they do things right. And so just go at it from a place of love. And I want to tell the parents that you are doing a good job. Okay, whatever job you are doing a good job. Don't let nobody else tell you, because you are the parent, you are the first responder. And so I just appreciate you just for having me on. I just I love this concept of this platform where everybody can't go, because everybody can't go. You know what I mean? They can't go, but sometimes we don't want to let go. And so I just encourage everybody to let it go. Let it go. You'll be better for it, you know? So thank
All
you so
right.
much.
And not just you, your family too.
Yes.
That's the takeaway that I want you guys to make sure that you pay attention to and grasp onto that. That this isn't just for you. This is for all of the little people that you're pouring into, and this is for your family. Not just the one coming from you, but also it can go backwards and be for the one that you came from as well. So we thank you so much for coming on, Tara. And I am so sure that I'm gonna have a handful of parents in the chat and in the DMs that y'all gonna be asking me like, when Tara Cartina coming back? And so the door is always open. We will always love to have you back. Make sure that you keep us abreast of your new endeavors and everything that you have coming up and going on.
Yes.
I am very excited. And you guys, like, shoot, don't wait till you prego. Don't wait till you have kids to get the book. Get your prerequisites in so that you can make a different set of mistakes, not the ones that somebody else has already made before you, and giving you the solutions so that you can be prepared for not making some of those same mistakes, and being able to become a better person as we go. So thank you so much for coming on with us. We really appreciate you, and we will see you guys next week for another Everybody Can't Go Convo.